All right, we're live. Hey guys, I'm here with Ron Shultis. He's the Legislative Director, part of the Political Division of the Libertarian Party of Illinois. Ron, welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks for having me, Aaron. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, so we've never really had a legislative director before that I'm aware of. I mean, at least since my time in the party, since 2009. Tell me a little bit about what your position is meant to do.
Sure. So as the legislative director, my job is to really keep an eye on the guys in Springfield for the party. So in terms of bills that they're trying to pass, both positive and negative, and keep the party and especially our candidates informed so they have issues to talk about on the campaign trail.
Okay, yeah, that sounds really good. You know, and that's so again, this is something we haven't had before, and I know that the parties in a lot of other states, they're constantly reviewing legislation, and they'll put out communication to their subscribers or what have you, people that are supporters. We have a ton of problems here in Illinois. In my opinion, 99% of them start and end with the legislature. So I mean, keeping an eye on those guys. Yeah. All right. So what do you think? Of course, you've seen some of these stories coming out recently that that they adopted new House rules for the House of Representatives. Have you looked into that? What's your thoughts on that?
They just passed them last week. It's actually the first thing they do after electing a Speaker of the House, as well as in the Senate, the President of the Senate. Most people don't realize how much control the Speaker of the House and President of the Senate have, particularly in the rules. It's through the rules that allow them and the leadership to really control the process and the flow of legislation, and especially what gets brought up to a vote. I think most people think of, when a bill's passed, everything gets voted on, or it's easy to get something at least to a vote, and then it's, who knows what happens. And that's just not quite true. Because of the rules process, Madigan basically, nothing comes to a vote if he doesn't like it. So it's very important, and most people don't realize how it's one of those silly things that you think shouldn't be such a big deal, but it's how they control their fiefdoms.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, that's a major problem that we have here. I mean, obviously, Mike Madigan is the longest-running Speaker of the House of any state legislative body, and he has his people set up in places to control committees and make sure that, things that are unfavorable to them aren't getting out of committee. They don't get a vote. And one of the things, a lot of the political training that I've gone through with some different groups, they've said, get the politicians on record, get them to vote on something, and that way you can use that either for or against them in the future. And of course, the way Madigan runs the House of Representatives, I mean, we're almost stripped of that opportunity to do that here in Illinois.
Right. He does a really good job of protecting his most liable representatives of his caucus. And so by denying votes on most legislation, it's hard to get any of them on the record, other than the big budget bills, which nobody really can understand and read anyways. Exactly.
And speaking of big budget bills, obviously there's a major push right now to move to this graduated income tax, and there's a bill for a constitutional amendment that would allow that, and it's already got just a slew of co-sponsors and a ton of support. Are you tracking this, and what do you think about our ability to, build some opposition to that?
Right. The good news is with constitutional amendments, it obviously has to be approved by the voters, but they don't even have to do that. They've got a new bill going on. They were going to try and pass a soda tax throughout the whole state. This is Senate Bill 09. And they decided to pull that, and now they're talking about raising the income tax from, I think it's 3.95 to 5%. It's going to be like a 40% increase. So, I mean, I'm sure their idea is to get it through the constitutional amendment. That's the end goal. But regardless, they're gonna get their take. especially in this new one, I think there's even like a business opportunity tax, and raising the corporate tax in Illinois to, I think, 9%, which is going to be, if not the highest, one of the highest in the country.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's going to put us really low. Like, we already rank super low as far as the state goes, as far as being a business-friendly climate. Obviously, people all over the state are hurting for jobs and things like that. And, you know, I mean, that's obviously just not, it's not good for the people. Now, one of the things that I'm tracking, because I'm passionate about gun rights, and I run an organization called End the Void. There is a bill in the House right now. It's House Bill 0492 that it's up right now, and obviously it's in the Rules Committee. I don't think it's going anywhere. But this bill would repeal the FOID Act. And so what I do is, you know, as part of End the FOID, I have a mailing list and everything. I email the people that subscribe to that list and ask them to call their people. Do we have plans to do those types of things as far as communicating bill statuses and things that we need to be paying attention to so that we can try to mobilize people to communicate with their legislators?
Absolutely. That's definitely part of the plan that I'm working to get the party more consistent on. You know, it's one thing to have the knowledge of what's going on. It's the other step to do something with it. So some of the things that we're doing is we're going to be having weekly updates on the Libertarian Illinois page of kind of all the bills that we're kind of tracking and interested in that we're going to have updated weekly. And then also in our monthly newsletter, this is for me to kind of expand upon one or two bills that libertarians might be interested in, or a way for us to kind of differentiate ourselves. And then in the more day-to-day operations, when things come up for either committee hearings or votes, we've already started posting to the various Facebook pages and social media. We're going to get a lot more active on that.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's great. I mean, one of the things that I've been saying ever since, maybe for a little while, not ever since any time, but at least the last year, is that we have to make people realize.
There we go.
Yeah, you're back. I'm sorry, I kept rolling. So what we have to do is, as libertarians, is make people realize that we're out here trying to make things better for them. We're trying to bring them information, or we're trying to make our communities better. And one of the things I think we need is we need a success story. We need to say, hey, look what we've done for you. We're not a bunch of people hanging out in our mom's basement. I am actually in my basement right now, but it's my basement. It's not my mom's. We're not just, we're not just keyboard warriors, not actually engaged in the community or whatever. Here are some tangible things that we've done to make the state a better place. And I think this project and this effort that you're heading up here is going to be a major part of that, if you will. So, I don't know, that was a long rant. That wasn't really a question in there. Tell me a little bit about your background. I see on your page it says that you're a legislative assistant in Georgia for the Georgia General Assembly. So is this something you've done before, and you got a lot of background in?
Yeah, actually, my first job out of college, I was a legislative aide for the House Majority Whip for the Georgia General Assembly at the time. I served about a session and a half working for him. It was an exciting experience. That was about 5 years ago now, 6 years ago. So it's something I actually have a background in. Part of my job at the time was we had caucus whip reports. So, you always hear like, oh, our legislators don't read the bills. Well, that's usually because they don't have time. So many hundreds of bills get written, and they don't know which ones are coming up when. They can only read the ones that have the most buzz around them. And so it was our job to kind of help summarize and kind of synthesize all these different bills and say, hey, this is, what this one does. This is one we expect to come up for a vote at this time. And so when I moved up to Chicago and became a libertarian, I saw that was a need that the party had, and thought I could bring some of my experience to the table.
Man, that's great. All right, man. I got to tell you, man, I'm really excited about this. I'm really glad that you're here with us. I don't mind that the Libertarian Party of Illinois is basically like free agency in all these other states or whatever, if you will. So that's great, man. Anyway, man, I'm excited about this. Is there anything you want to say? Like, put the word out. What do you guys need? You guys need volunteers. You need just tell anybody watching, what they can do to help.
Absolutely. The main thing is to make sure you're following the Libertarian Party of Illinois Facebook page, as well as Libertarians of Illinois, and then also we created a Legislative Action Committee Facebook page. And what we're going to be doing now, pretty much, especially as the session really starts gearing up here in the next couple of weeks, right now they're really just in the stage of their introducing bills. We're going to be sending out posts of who to call when. Emailing your legislators is great, but trust me, as someone who used to work with them, a phone call does grabs a lot more attention. And it's going to be key that we target the right people at the right time. And that's what's going to be the most key. So know who your legislator is, and so then when we send out, hey, if you live in such district, or, if call this person, be ready to go. That's the way that we can start mobilizing it, and just pay attention to what we're doing, because we're going to be taking on some big issues here. I think we're going to also have some really exciting news next week. We've actually got a bill that's going to be introduced that's going to lower the threshold for established party from 5% to 2%. Libertarians who have been around the state know how that magic number of 5%. We've actually got a bill that's going to be sponsored, filed in the House next week, that lowers it to 2%. Which is more in line with the regional average, and that's going to be huge if we can create any kind of buzz with that. And I actually have some decent optimism between a couple of legislators that I'm talking with on both sides of the aisle to potentially get that moving.
Man, that's great. That's really exciting. I mean, of course, we've been sharing that other bill that's live right now that Kyle McCarter actually introduced, that would level the playing field between us and the other parties, which would be great.
Yeah, Senate Bill 63.
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, of course, we encourage people to call on that. Hey, look, if you're running a chapter out there, be sure you get on that page that he mentioned. Watch for the updates. Share them with your chapter. Communicate those to your people. If you're watching this and you're not really part of the Libertarian Party or whatever, hey, check that page out. There's going to be a ton of great information on it. This is our way to try to communicate with people, let them know how the General Assembly is trying to get them. And it's not going to be like the NRA Institute for Legislative Action, where it's like one bill per state per year, and it's only about gun rights. I mean, we're going to be covering things that are going to affect many more areas of people's lives. Yeah. Anyway, if you haven't picked up on it, I'm a little tired, but I'm super excited about this project. We lost Ron again. When he comes back, we're basically going to be signing off. But yeah, if you're running a chapter, make sure you do that. All right, you're back, Ron.
I'm back.
Yeah, man. Yeah, sorry, we lost you again. Anything else you want to say before we go ahead and sign off? I think we covered a lot of the information. And again, like I say, I'm super stoked about having you running this position now, by the way. So welcome to Illinois.
The only thing really appreciate it. I mean, the only thing I would say is that, as a goal as a political party is to govern and to be knowledgeable of what's going on, especially at a state level. It's easy to talk about national issues like end the Fed or whatnot, but if you don't know what's going on in your local areas or in your state, it's not going to matter. So understand what's going on with your state reps and state senators. Get educated, and so that way we can be more of a force in this state, because it badly needs a libertarian influence.
I couldn't agree with you more. All right, Ron. Hey, I appreciate you taking this time to join me. I think this is a great interview, and again, welcome to the Libertarian Party of Illinois. I hope to meet you at the convention, which of course is coming up on April 7th. Everybody get your convention registration. So, all right, man. I'm going to go ahead and sign off then. And,
all right.
Again,
thanks for having me.